All right, now we're recording, and I'm going to I've got to let's see. I have to find where that place is. Share screen. Okay. This is not it. 1 minute. Okay, so we're beginning with our Shiur, as we do in Pirkei Avos. Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelik le'olam haba. All of Israel has a share in the world to come. 1 minute, I'll be right back. Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelik le'olam haba. All of Israel has a share in the world to come. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, va'amech kulam tzadikim. Your entire nation is righteous. La'olam yirshu oretz. They shall forever inherit the land. Neitzer mata'ai, they are the branch of my planting. Ma'aseh yodai lehispa'er. They are the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. All right, so we're now going to be going to, we're now going to be going to the text of today's Mishnah. Let's see if we can get it up here. Okay, here it is. And now I've got to get onto, go back to 1 minute. I'll be right there. Let me go back to Zoom. All right. Let's see if we can get the text on now.
Where's David, Rabbi?
But I don't know.
Okay.
There is a problem. I'm trying to organize this. It'll take a moment till I figure it out. Because this is not my expertise. I'll be right back.
Mark. Marco. David. David. David.
Everything's on.
He is on.
Yeah, he's on now.
Mark.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay, it's okay.
They're allowing 12 people in Seoul.
What?
They're allowing 12 people
In
in Seoul.
Brazil? That's good.
And you have to wear gloves. love and mask. You have to be love and mask.
In prospect, it's only mask that you have to wear.
I know.
So it's not the same thing then. Of course not. If someone comes there and has the germs and they touch something and you touch it with your hand,
I'm gonna wear a glove mask. Okay. Okay.
maybe they're going to say you're not allowed to wear gloves on Shabbos. What's going on here? Is everything okay?
Here's the problem.
What do you mean with what?
The screen.
Oh, okay. Oh. Let's take the year off. We're going to go to what country?
Israel. Well, if Biden wins, we're going to Israel. Okay? I'm out of here if Biden wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is everything okay?
Technical issues.
I don't hear anything.
From us, just a problem with the screen.
I know I see the rabbi. I don't hear him saying anything.
It's on mute. He's not saying
He's
anything.
not saying anything.
He's not saying
No,
anything.
you have to wait. Be patient. Don't worry. You're going to get
Oh,
your
we have
time.
to wait. Oh, okay, perfect. I thought I was the only one.
Technical
problem.
difficulties.
Okay.
All right, what's doing? You hear when
Okay, do you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now you hear me. Okay, great. Now, do 1 minute. We'll try another thing. Okay. Let's see now. Do you see a text?
No
No, okay.
text, Rabbi. No text.
No, it's not working.
Rabbi, excuse
Yes.
me. David is on.
David, are you there?
It shows that he's on. He's the co-host, and it says that he's on.
All right, I'm looking for the text of the Mishnah. I can't seem to get it on. I press share, and I press the place where I have it, but I don't seem to get the. I'm looking for the Mishnah in Perik Beis, Mishnah Vav or Zion, and I don't seem to be able to get it. If David, if you're on, please give us that text. I pressed share, but it doesn't seem to grant it to me.
Harry, I don't
Mark,
see
you
him.
see that he's on. It says
I don't see-
co-host.
I don't
He's
see
the
him on. I don't see
co-host.
him on. I don't
He's
see
the
him on.
co-host.
I know, but I don't see him.
No, he's not on. He is not on.
No, but it's host, yeah.
No,
No, he's not
only
on,
host.
but it says co-host, and he's the co-host.
He is, but I don't see co-host.
I know. You're right.
All right, do you see it now?
Oh, yes, now it's good,
Okay,
Rabbi.
here we go.
Yes,
All right.
good.
Okay, I'm sorry for that delay. Okay.
You have to mute everybody again, Rabbi.
We're gonna go back to muting everyone again. We're about to start a little later. Okay, we'll try to make up the time. We're a little behind schedule, but we will try, yes, Hashem, to make it up. I have to first mute everybody, which I've got to do all over again. 1 minute in order to get this done right. Let me get back to mute. 1 second. Oh boy, we're having difficulty getting to that spot again.
Oh, come on.
Okay, 1 minute. We will be there in a moment. Okay, everyone is now muted. Okay, so we're beginning. And now you can all see, right? Yes, okay. Says the Mishnah. We're up to this Mishnah over here, right where the arrow is pointing. This is in Perek Beis. Hillel is talking. The last thing we learned was this Mishnah, which is Mishnah Hey. We learned this the last time we studied Pirkei Avos together. Hu haya omer ein bor yirei chet v'lo am ha'aretz chassid. That's what we learned the last Mishnah. V'lo ha'baishan lamed. And someone who is an embarrassed type person, he's very shy, he won't be able to learn. V'lo ha'kapdan melamed, and a very strict, didactic individual will not be able to teach. V'lo kol ha'marbe b'schor ha'machkim. And if you get too involved in business, there's no way you're going to become wise. Ubemakom she'ein anoshim. The last statement is crucial for us tonight. Ubemakom she'ein anoshim, Hillel said, in a place where there are no people, hishtadel lihiyos ish. You've got to try to be a person. You have to try to be a man, a woman. You got to stand up when there's no other people to stand up and say the truth and to point it out. You've got to be the one to be the man. Now comes this very cryptic, small little Mishnah, which is tonight's discussion. Mishnah Vav, right here. You can all see the hand. Af hu ra'ah, gulgoles, achas. Also, he saw one skull, shetzofa al penei amayim, that was floating on the water. The implication is that what he saw was a human skull that was floating on the water. Amalo, he said to the skull, al da ataft or al da ataft, because you drowned someone, it fuch, you were drowned by some others. V'sof mitifayich, and the end result of those who drowned you, yetufun, they will be drowned. Unbelievable statement from Hillel. Imagine that. He saw a skull floating on the face of the water, and he said, the one that drowned you will be drowned. And the end result is that the one, because you drowned, because you drowned someone else, you were drowned, and the one who drowns you will also be drowned. Now Rabbi Say, we're talking about the Hillel, who was an Oev Shalom and a Rodev Shalom. He was someone who loved peace, someone who pursued peace. He was Oev Es HaMakom. He loved Hashem, Oev Es HaBrios, loved creations, Umekarvan La Torah, and he brought them back to the Torah. Hillel was this wonderful, wonderful Hillel who we spoke about, and about the way he taught everyone with the kindness and goodness and patience. Isn't this a rather stark and very didactic statement? Isn't this statement somewhat, it puts you off. It makes you feel there's this exacting measure, that there's no room for any type of mercy. He saw a skull floating on the water. He said, you know, the reason you're floating on the water and you were drowned is because you drowned somebody else. I want you to know the one that drowned you is also going to be drowned. So we're dealing here with a concept that is being introduced to us. And the concept that's being introduced is a very strict midah keneged midah situation. Measure for measure. You drowned someone else, you were drowned. The one who drowns you, will also be drowned. Measure for measure. Very unusual. It's the kind of thing that very few people amongst us would be willing to entertain. But you should know, there is a Mishnah. And if I get a chance right now, I'm going to try to get it for us. If you'll be patient, it won't take more than a minute, because I'm going to go to the Mishnayos in Sefaria, and we're going to download that Mishnah, which is in Sota, Perik Aleph, Mishnah Zion. So be patient as I go get it right now. It's going to tell us exactly what we want to hear about this particular idea of midah keneged midah. Okay, now watch what happens here. Okay, we're going to go to the Mishnah, and we're going to go to the Masechta Sota, which is in Noshim, and we're going to go Perik Aleph, Mishnah Zion. Okay, let's take a look at this Mishnah. I'm actually going to start in the Mishnah before. Do you see the text? Raise your hand if you see the text. Do you see the text? Yes, I hope you do. Let me see if I can get everybody to, okay.
Rabbi, yes.
Yeah, okay, good. Okay. Look at this.
It's blank. It's blank.
Look at this Mishnah. Watch the cursor.
Mark, now it's not blank. It's on now.
Do you see it now?
B'midah
Right. B'midah shah the moded ba.
the modate?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you all see that Mishnah? I'm going to unmute you so you can
If
talk
it's
to me.
more screen, I see, but very large.
Yes,
Blank.
we do see it.
Wait on.
It's come out very
Okay,
well, Rabbi.
I got it. I see it. Okay.
Mark, you
Okay.
have it now? Okay, good.
I'm unmuting everybody. Once again, do you all see the Mishnah?
Yes.
Yes, Rabbi.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So then now I can mute you again. Here we go. Okay, here we go. The Mishnah begins like this. B'midah she'adam moded, in the way someone measures, bo modedim lo. That's the way he is measured. The Mishnah now goes on to talk about the Isha Sota, which was read in our Machzor of the Torah yesterday in Parshas Noso, and it talked about the midah keneged midah, about the Isha Sota. That's not our topic for tonight, so I'm going to go to the next Mishnah. Look what the next Mishnah says. Watch this. Shimshon halach achar einav. Shimshon Agibor, Samson, he went after his eyes. Lefikach, therefore, nikru plishtim es einav. The plishtim took out his eyes. Midah keneged midah. Shenemar, and they quote the pasuk. Vayochazu plishtim vayinakru es einav. They grabbed him and they put out his eyes. Next case. Avshalom nizgai b'saro. Avshalom, he made himself conceited by his locks of very beautiful hair. Lefikach, nitla b'saro. Therefore, he was hung up by his hair. You take a look at Shmuel Beis, you'll see that he was riding in the forest to escape. His hair was flowing in back of him and got caught on a branch. The horse kept running and he was hanging there. And the pasuk says, Lefikach, therefore, nitla b'saro, he was hung by his hair. Because he had illicit relations with his father David concubines. Lefikach nasnu lo eser lanvios. Therefore, because of that, he had 10 spears stuck into him. Shenamar, Vayosobo Asara Anoshim, Nosei Klei Yoav. The people who were in the army of Yoav, who was David's general, surrounded him. Ulefi Shagona Shlosha Levavos. And because he stole 3 hearts, meaning he was a traitor to 3 hearts, Levaviv, the heart of his father David, Velev Bezdin, the heart of the Bezdin, Velev Yisrael, and the heart of the Jewish people. Shenemar, Vayegane Avshalom as Lev Anshe Yisrael, and Avshalom stole the heart of the people. Lefikach, therefore, Nisk Ubo Shlosha Shvatim, therefore, because he stole their hearts, therefore there were 3 sticks, so to speak, driven through his heart. Shenemar, Vayikach Losha Shvatim Mekapav Yisrael Belev Avshalom. He had 3 darts, is where he translated here, sticks, whatever, into his heart. Now, you might say this is very negative, but look at the next Mishnah. Watch this. This is all in Masechta Sotah, the first parak. V'chein le'inyan tova. The same thing applies when it comes to good things. Watch. Miriam himtino leMoshe sha'a achas. This is unbelievable. Miriam waited for Moshe 1 moment, 1 hour. Shenemar. It quotes the beginning of Shmos. And his sister stood from afar. Lefikach, therefore, nisakvu kol Yisrael shiva yomim bamidbar. Wow. She stayed 1 moment, and all of Israel waited 7 days until she was healed from her tsaras, which is in next week's Sedra. Shenemar, v'ha'om lo nasa ad hayosef Miriam. And the people did not travel until after Miriam was brought back into camp because she had tsaras. Here's another example. Yosef zacha litbaris aviv. Yosef was merited to be the one who buried his father. Ve'ein be'echav gadol mimenu. None of his brothers were as great as he. Shenemar, as it says in the pasuk, Vayal Yosef Ligboris Aviv. Yosef was the one in Parshas Vayechi that went to bury his father. Vayal Imo Gam Rechav Gam Paroshim. And because Yosef led the delegation, there were horses and chariots. Mi Lanu Gadol Mi Yosef. Who was greater amongst the brothers than Yosef? Shalom is Asek Bo Ela Moshe. And the only one who ended up burying Yosef was whom? Moshe Rabbeinu. Yosef was the king and he buried his father. Say he was Zoche that the leader of the Jewish people buried him. Moshe Zoche Ba'atzmas Yosef. Moshe was the merited one who buried Yosef. And there was no one better than Moshe. Shenemar. And Moshe took the bones of Yosef with him. Moshe. Who was greater than Moshe? And therefore, who buried Moshe? Shenemar, Hashem buried him. Vayikbar oso bagai. Lo al Moshe bilvad amru, ela al kol tzadikim. And this whole statement doesn't only refer to Moshe, it refers to all the righteous people. Shenemar, v'halach lefanav tzidkecha, kevod Hashem yaspecha. That your righteousness walks before you, and the covenant of Hashem goes before you. Now let's analyze this. Midah keneged midah. There was no greater mistake than the Shimshon made. He was punished. There was no greater mistake than what Avshalom did. He was punished. There was no greater than Miriam. The unbelievable what Miriam did. She watched Moshe Rabbeinu for a few moments, and all of Israel waited 7 days for her. But besides that, people, didn't the Jews have water on behalf of Miriam? The rock that produced water was in her zechus, because we know that, because the day that Miriam died, the water stopped flowing from the rock. Imagine that. 3 million Jews for 38 years had water because of Miriam, actually close to 40. And who buried Yaakov? Yosef. None was greater. So Yosef was merited to be buried by the greatest. Who was that? Moshe. Moshe was the greatest. And he buried Yosef. Who merited to have Hashem bury him? HaKadosh Baruch Hu buried him. Midah keneged midah. Everything is measure for measure. This is something that is unbelievable. And what we're learning from this, is that when it says in the Mishnah, Afu Ro Golgolis Achas Shetzafa Al Panei Hamayim, he saw one skull floating on the water. Omar, he said, Al the Ataft Atfuch, because you drowned someone, you would drown. The Sof B'Tifayach Yetuf, and the end result is the one who drowned you is also going to be drowned. Now, all this statement is midah keneged midah, but we have to be very, very careful on both sides. I caution you very, very carefully. This is something Hillel said at a moment, at a particular moment. And we have to ask ourselves a question about this Mishnah. What's that question? The first word, af. Why did it have to say af? Look at the Mishnah right above this. Here it is. Mishnah Hey. How does it start? Hu haya omer. Hillel. He was the one who said. The Mishnah before that. Hillel. Hu haya omer. He used to say. Let's go to the next Mishnah. Hu haya omer. He used to say. All of this is Hillel. Why does it say af hu ra'ah over here? What's the word af? Moreover, also, in addition, what does that word af have to do with what Hillel is trying to teach? So the Mefarshim come along and they tell us a very important lesson, which is said by the Eshtos. He says as follows. Look at the previous Mishnah. The last lines of this previous Mishnah. Ubemakom she'ein anoshim, in a place where there's no one able to get up and say something. Ishtadeh lihi yosish. You have to strive to be a person. You have to do everything you can to come up and say the truth. What happened here is this, and according to Rashi, listen carefully to the way Rashi interprets this Mishnah. Hillel, with all of his kindness, with all of his patience, with all of his love for his fellow man, he saw this skull and he knew who the skull belonged to. He recognized this skull that was floating on the water. He knew this person. And he knew he was a no-goodnik. He knew he was a murderer. He knew that he drowned someone. So when he saw it, he put himself in the category of what it says right here where the cursor is, where the hand is. Ubemokom she'ein anoshim, where there's no one else to tell the truth about this particular skull. Hishtadel lihi yosish. Hillel had to stand up and become a man and say, I want to tell you something. I knew this skull. And the reason he is floating on the water, because Omar Lo, he said to this skull, I know you. And I know why you're drowning. I know why you were drowned. Al da ateft atfuch. Because you drowned others, you were drowned. I know that. And no one else is going to tell you. But when no one else is going to say the truth, I'm going to say it. But I want to tell you something. If you think that this is an endless, ongoing cycle of violence that will never end, I want you to know it can end. Because I'm adding a little bit of a tefillah. I'm adding a prayer. And I'm saying, the end result of the one that drowned you, yitufun, they will be drowned. I'm not saying someone else is going to drown them, because I don't want this cycle to continue. I know that you committed an avera of murder by drowning. And I know, and I can tell from the way this played out, that in turn you were drowned, midah keneged midah. But I'm giving a bracha to Klal Yisrael because Hillel was an Oev Shalom and a Rodev Shalom. And he says, I didn't say someone else is going to drown you. I'm saying, Sof mitifayich yitufun, the end result is going to be, the ones who drowned you are going to be drowned. But I'm not saying that they're going to be drowned by somebody else. They're going to drown on their own. They're going to drown on their own. And because they're going to drown on their own, no one else is going to be blameworthy. And this cycle is going to end. Don't think that because something happened at one time, it goes on forever. The end result is it may not go on forever. Now, I want you to take a look over here. Look at this Gemara in Masechta Shabbos. I'm going to put my hand right where it belongs. Omar Mar Ukva. Now, listen to me carefully, Rabosai. I have something interesting to tell you. There's a pasuk in Chumash Devarim, and the pasuk in Chumash Devarim is talking about a ma'aka. I don't know if you know what a ma'aka is. I hope many of you do. A ma'aka is a fence around the roof. The Torah tells us, Kisivne bayis chodosh, when you build a new house, v'osisa ma'aka ligagecha. You have to make a parapet, a fence, around your roof. Now, there are requirements for a fence, Rabosai. There are specific requirements. It's got to be 10 tfachim high. 10 tfachim means minimum 36 inches. It's got to be 36 inches high. There also can't be a space in the fence you put up. If it's not a solid wall, you're not going to put a solid wall, you can put a fence, but there shouldn't be a space that's bigger than 3 tfachim. You can't have a space bigger than about 10.5 inches. You can't, or at the outside, 12 inches. There can't be more of a space than 12 inches. Because if there's a space of more than 12 inches, then a little person could fit through it and fall off the roof, God forbid. Now look at the pasuk that I'm quoting here in the Gemara. The pasuk says you have to build a fence around the roof because what might happen? What is the pasuk saying when it says ki yipol anofel mimenu? Because the one who falls may fall from that roof, right? That means somebody who falls is going to fall from that roof. Now, why should someone fall from that roof if they've done nothing whatsoever? Says the Gemara, Tana Devei Rabbi Yecheskel, Ki yipol anofel mimenu, when it says because the faller, the nofel is the faller, the one who falls, is going to fall from this roof. This one who falls was supposed to fall from that roof. Sharelo nofal, he didn't yet fall. Va'akasav karu nofel, and the pasuk is calling him the one who is falling. So now let me ask you, Rabosai. He was supposed to fall from that roof. Maybe he was a guy who had to fall to his death for whatever reason. whatever reason. And along comes your roof, and you didn't put a fence around the roof. So what happens to him? He falls from your roof. You could say, listen, what's it got to do with me? I don't need to put a fence around the roof. If someone's going to fall, he's going to fall anyway. If someone's not going to fall, he's not going to fall anyway. What has it got to do with me and putting up a roof? Says the Gemara. Watch what the Gemara says here. Right? Wow. A zechus comes through for someone who has zechusim. If you have merits, you should know that great things are going to be accomplished by you because you've made merits in your life, and good is going to come because of the merits you've done. The more merits you do, the more merits you will have. But the Shiur, the one who falls from that roof, falls from your roof because you didn't do the mitzvah, because you didn't put a fence around the roof. And you should have. You should have put that fence around the roof. Now it's a little late, but we started late. So I have to tell you an unbelievable story of our shul. An unbelievable story of our shul. I'm going to take away this particular piece of Gemara now, and we're going to go back to the screen where we have more or less everybody shining on the screen, and listen to this unbelievable story. In the year 2000, Rabbi Shiur Zichrono Livracha passed away. I became the Rav of the shul. I was before that with the shul from 1988, actually 86. As the Menal Ruchni, if you remember, I was there as an associate position. I was the Rav in the Young Israel Borough Park, but Rav Shiur Zichrono Livracha was the Gadol, and I deferred to him being the Rav, which was the proper thing to do. When he passed away, and we became very close to each other, and we had a terrifically beautiful friendship. It was my honor many times to take him and walk with him and hold his arm and make sure that he was steady when we go to Levayas Nebuch or Havdil, when we went to some simchas, we went to weddings together. I would always have the privilege of walking with him, taking him, and speaking with him. And after he passed away, I became the Rav. So I had a contract. No, they weren't sure I'd be a good Rav. How did they know me? They didn't know. I wasn't their Rav I was a Rav in the Young Israel, not in Bethel, so to speak. So they were stuck with me, I guess. So I had a 2-year contract, which is up in 2002. In June of 2002, there was a graduation ceremony held in our shul. Every single year, Prospect Park Girls Yeshiva holds their graduation in our shul. And because Prospect Park Yeshiva is a girls' yeshiva, the girls sit downstairs when they are the graduates, and the mothers sit with them downstairs. And many of the men sit up in the balcony because there's not enough room. Kanai Nahara, so many beautiful girls graduate. There's so many fine, Benos Yeshiva. And one of my good friends, someone I learned with many times, someone who was sort of a charusa of mine, and a close friend, and also the son of a member of our shul, Dr. Neil Ringel, was sitting in the balcony upstairs, and we had worked on some projects, making a roof-in up in the mountains, around bungalow colonies. We learned Hilchas Eruvin together. We made an Eruv. And he came over to me after the graduation. He saw me there, And he came over and he said, Rabbi, do you know you've got a problem up in the balcony with halacha? I said, what are you talking about? He says, the balcony doesn't have a proper railing. The makkah is not passing muster lahalacha. You can't continue this way. It's against the halacha. You have to build a fence around a roof, and a balcony is also a roof, and it's dangerous. And at that time, there was a little bit of a wall, and then a big space, and then a little bar. One bar. And the space was very large, and it was low to the ground. It was less than 10 tefachim. It was 30 inches. When you stood up there, he said, it's dangerous. This is terrible. I said, Doc, my good friend, the shul's in existence almost 100 years, 80 years at that point. What? Nothing ever happened. Nobody said anything till not a Rav. Zechariah Levracha didn't say anything. He said, yeah, of course no one said anything. No Rav was ever up here. You go up. Take a look yourself. Tell me what you think. This was a Thursday night. I could hardly sleep that night. The next morning, I took my tape measure Friday morning. I went up to the balcony. I measured the balcony. As they say in Yiddish, es gewonnen finster and Egen. I couldn't believe it. This low 28 to 29 inch railing, you look down and you had to hold on. It was like, wow, this is dangerous. How did this go on for so many years? It's terrible. It's got to be fixed. It's got to be fixed. Sunday morning, I came to shul. I told the Balabatim, please come with me up to the balcony. I have to show you something. I went up to the balcony. I took my tape measure with me. I stood them in the balcony. One of our choshev Balabatim at the time, Mr. Carl Weistuk, Talhab and Alichtik in Gan Eden, took a look and he said, ooh, this is dangerous. I said, Baruch Hashem, terrific. You saw it too. I said, this is terrible. La halacha, we're in big trouble. This is not acceptable. We have to build a new railing. And all the Balabatim came to me and said, come on, Rabbi, what's this chumrah you're coming up, a new chumrah? All of a sudden, you're coming up with a new chumrah. Everything is machmir. What? I said, what are you talking about? I'm not being machmir. It's halacha. You got 30 inches. You need minimum of 36. You got a space of 15 inches here. It's dangerous. You got to get another railing. They said, yeah, but this is genuine brass. Do you have any idea what it's going to cost to make 2 new brass railings? I said, you know how much it'll cost a human life that falls over this? What are you talking about? There's no money on human life. God forbid a child falls down, an adult falls down. It's terrible. We can't continue. We know about it now. We've got to stop it. We've got to fix it. They said, well, we'll vote at a board meeting. I said, I'm coming to the board meeting. They had a board meeting. I came to the board meeting and I gave him a shiur. I gave a shiur on the mitzvah of makkah. One particular fellow who never heard the mitzvah of makkah before raised his hand and said, Rabbi, the mechitza was good all these years. Leave it alone. It's a kosher mechitza. I said, I'm not talking about the mechitza. Mechitza's fine. I have no problem. You don't even need a curtain upstairs. It's a balcony. I'm not talking about the mechitza. It has nothing to do with mechitza. It has to do with a makkah. He says, Micah, shmicah. What's a micah? He didn't want to hear anything. I explained it again. And they said to me, okay, now we have to vote. I said, Aboisai, you can vote. It's a board. You need democracy. But let me tell you something. This is a halacha. So you can vote to put up a new railing, but you can only vote yes. You can't vote no. One person got up and said, Rabbi, are you taking away our democratic rights? Are you telling us we have to know how to vote? I said, Chas v'shalom. I would never dream in a million years of being anti-American. I'm just telling you the halacha. The halacha says you need it, so you have to vote yes, finished, that's all. And I walked out of the room. I didn't find out what happened until later that evening. Later that evening, I got a call from none other than Hilda Ringel Oleha Hashalom, who just passed away not long ago. And she called me up and she says to me, I want to tell you what happened at the meeting. After you walked out, the chairman of the board said, okay, all those in favor. I said, point of order. And Mrs. Ringel got up and she says, I don't understand you people. The rabbi said it's a halacha. How could you even consider voting no? It's ridiculous. This has to be fixed, and that's it. And they had a vote. It was unanimous with one exception. One person said, I'm voting no just to make it democratic. He had to make it democratic. So they voted to make a new mechitza, a new mica. They're going to put up a new thing. I was charged with finding out how they're going to do this. I didn't know what to do, so I started searching for brass companies. People who will make this railing, a double railing. It's got to be beautiful, just like the genuine brass that's there now. Sure enough, I found the biggest brass manufacturer on the Eastern Seaboard, located in New Jersey. I call him up. I tell him the problem. He says, what's the name of this synagogue? I said, Young Israel Bethel. He said, you know Sam Swibel? I said, do I know Sam Swibel? Of course I know Sam Swibel. He's the president of the shul. He said, yeah, that's my father. I said, you're kidding. He said, no, I'm not. I'll come down, I'll take a look. He comes down a week or two later. He took a look at the railing. He measured it. I told him the requirements. Can't be a space more than 12 inches. It's got to be at least 2 bars. It's got to go up at least 36 inches. And you got to fix this. Calls me back a week later. It's going to cost you $28,000. I said, $28,000? He says, yeah, you want genuine brass, don't you? I got to take away the old one. I got to manufacture a new one. It's got to be genuine brass, polished brass. It's going to be $28,000 to go all around. I said, Ribbon Shalom. I got to come to the board and I got to tell them $28,000. We don't have that much money. And then my contract is up. They're going to fire me on the spot and they'll save a lot of money. What am I going to do? So I came to them. I explained to them, listen, this thing can't get put up till November because they have to manufacture the parts and so on. I want you to know I'm closing the balcony for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And they said, you can't do that. We got a full balcony of women sitting there. We can't close it. I said, you're right. I can't do it. I'm only closing the first 2 rows. I put caution tape across the first 2 rows. Any of you who remember that Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. No one was allowed to sit in the first 2 rows because I didn't want Chas v'Shalom ki yipol hanofel mimenu. And sure enough, that November, a brand new marker was put up, 2 bars, beautiful, beautiful. I went to the contractor. I said, okay, give me the bill. I'm going to go bring it to the board, and the board is going to send you a check. And he says to me, come here. Rabbi, please come here. I went over to him. He took the contract in his hand. He ripped it up in half. And he said, no charge. This one's on me. No charge. And that's how we got the proper ma'aka. And we have a double railing upstairs for the very simple reason that we wanted to fulfill the halacha. It's still pretty dangerous if you're not careful. You got to be careful. But now, la halacha, it fits. I want you to know I called up the New York City Department of Housing and Buildings. And they told me, if you have a balcony, the minimum size of a railing is 40 inches. The only reason that your synagogue was allowed because it was grandfathered into the old system, but you did the right thing by putting up a new railing. And consequently, we now have a marker in the shul. Because the pasuk says, Ki yipol hanofel mimenu. And that's the Gemara that we just read before. That's the Gemara. Because the Gemara is telling us that this is what's going to happen. God forbid. Because like Hillel said it as clear as day. If you're not careful, this is what could happen. He saw the skull floating on the water. And he said, Because you drowned, atfuch, you would drown. And the one who drowns you, he too will be drowned. Because midah keneged midah. And therefore, we do everything we can to ensure the personal welfare and safety of all people. It's a mitzvah. Wearing a mask in this type of situation is a mitzvah. It's mamish against not, because you could damage someone inadvertently. You don't want to do that. That's why we're taking such precautions in our shul, to protect everyone, even everyone that you meet. And that's why it's so difficult to be away from shul. Trust me, I miss it terribly. I miss being with the beautiful people that come to our shul. Okay, this was a very important Mishnah, something that we have to keep in mind. Mirz Hashem will go on tomorrow night with Pirkei Avos. But before we go, I want to remind everyone, I'm sorry to have to repeat this, but Yizkor for Pesach came and went. Yizkor for Shavuos came and went. The shul usually is able to get enough funding from the Yizkor to help it through the summer months, because we don't have a great income and people haven't yet remembered the shul. So if you can get the word out, you yourselves or others, it's appropriate and proper to remember to go online, register with the shul, and sign up and send in the donations that will help the shul to continue. And as we open now, we are opening, and Mirz Hashem, slowly but surely, and if things keep going good, soon we'll be fully open. And we want everyone to come back and revel in the absolute majesty and beauty of our shul, to hear the beautiful sounds of our chazan and choir, and to participate in the holiness of the kedusha of the davening of our shul. So try to get the word out if you can. Okay, we are stopping the recording now, and we're going to be going now